Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you today to IMC HighPoint Market and our programming for June market. This is Gail Doby, and she will be discussing how business success serves your life goals. And we will have a couple of giveaways of her book. So those who are registered and are participating, you might be one of the lucky winners. We'll be selecting them from those in attendance afterwards. And so just pay attention to your email. This is CEU accredited, so it will be emailed out to you afterward, and pay attention for that to come to you. If you're watching via Facebook or YouTube, you can email me at kporter@imcenters.com and I'll get you that accreditation. We welcome you to join us next week at HighPoint Market in North Carolina. And Gail, I'll let you take it away right now.
All right. Thank you so much, Kim. And for those of you who don't know me, I have been doing coaching and consulting for a little over 13 years to our industry. I am a NCIDQ designer, and I have not been practicing for the last 5 years or so because I have been very full-time doing what I'm doing right now, which is helping all of you make more money in your businesses and hopefully have a lot more life balance and a lot more fun and return to your passion. So thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it. And for those of you who are joining me right now, be sure and type in the chat and participate with me throughout, because I love to see the chat. The chat is what keeps me going and keeps me excited, and also is partly how we're going to select who wins the prizes today. And for those of you who are the winners on my book, we will be printing a paperback version over the summer, like in June. And so it's probably going to be a few weeks before you see the book, because we are right now just getting that all set up to print. So it will be coming to you a little bit later on toward the end of June, early July. So anyway, glad you're all here. And I'm very excited today to talk to you about how business success serves your life goals. And here's what we're going to talk about. And the first thing I'd like to at least think about for you, and I hope you're taking lots of notes because there is a lot of information I can share, is to think about where you are right now. And I want you to just think about, okay, well, where's my revenue? Where am I personally? How do I feel about my business? Am I enjoying it? Am I working too much? What is my current situation? And feel free at any time if you want to drop notes in chat. People who chat tend to be more likely to win prizes. So just a little encouragement for you if you want to go ahead and type that into chat, and that would be great. Okay, so we're also going to talk about what your real problem is and why your business may not be set up to achieve your life goals. And then we'll talk about what you need to do and have in place to achieve your goals. How financially successful designers charge for their services. We'll talk about that at a very high level today. And we'll talk briefly about marketing and mindset. So we have a lot of ground to cover today. And usually I am a fire hose. I'm known for that. So be ready, take lots of notes. Hopefully you'll get some good answers today. So let's talk about what your biggest frustration with your life and business might be today. And some people that come to us say, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do to get unstuck in my business. I want to take my business to the next level, but I'm not sure what I need to change. Some people say that they don't have a business degree, or they feel like an imposter, especially if they don't have a design degree. And sometimes you might take difficult clients because you're afraid not to take the job, because you think, oh my gosh, I've got to have it for cash flow. But then all of a sudden you wind up being miserable. And that leads to being stressed and not sleeping. So anybody have those things happen to them? Go ahead and chat into the screen right now. I would love to see your responses as we go. Okay, so other things that I've heard from people is that they don't have work-life balance. And typically what happens is they get home late, they need to take care of the kids, and they have to work after their kids go to bed. And then you might even miss some of those important events and feel really bad when you do. Does anybody relate to that? Just go ahead and chat in with me. And this one I've heard quite a bit lately. My spouse and my kids complain that I work all the time, and I constantly get texts and emails in the evenings and on the weekends. And for some people, they say, I don't have a team, but I'm burned out from working so hard. So there has to be an easier way. And there certainly is. Some people get frustrated because their team doesn't work overtime and they have to pick up the slack just to make sure to hit deadlines. And I've been here too. I know how this feels. I'm overwhelmed with the responsibility of running a business, and I wonder if I should just go get a job. And some people say, I'm not earning much money for all the time I'm working. Surely there's a way to earn more money. And if you're in any of those situations, then you're not alone. And I've probably been there at some point as well. So some people say they don't want to run a big company, but they do want to earn more money and they need to. So if you're concerned about your financial future, even if you're smart, you can still struggle to make the kind of money that you want to make. And you need to figure out how to do it better. But as the rule of thumb goes for me, and I've listened to this and thought about this so many times, one of my mentors said, you need to be asking for help if you're stuck for more than 3 days, because if you can't solve that problem, then somebody else needs to help you that has been on that path before. So, just like what we were saying a second ago, a lot of people come to us and say that they need help with their business. But the reality is that's not the real question that you need to ask. And we don't play in this shallow end of the pool. We believe in a deep dive because that's the only way to take your business to the next level. So the real key here is that you have a choice. And we typically find that the people who are at this point, like you, often want to go deeper and get to the next level in their business. And so 3 of the things that we work with people to overcome and to achieve are 3 critical outcomes. And the first one is financial confidence. A lot of people say, I do not know how to unlock that money that I deserve doing what I love. And so I want you to look at this range of responses and kind of pick out where you are right now on the scale of 1 to 10. It could be anywhere from under 250,000 of revenue and less than 10% net profit, which today our industry average is less than 8%. And so you might be in the 1, 2, or 3 category, or you might be in the 250,000 to $1 million revenue category with at least 5% net profit, but less than 10 probably. And that could be that 4, 5, or 6. And then the comfortable range is somewhere 2 to 5 times that. So maybe you are 1.5 to 2 million in revenue and 10 to 15% net profit, and you get to that comfortable level. And then of course the top level is secure, which is probably 3 million plus in revenue and somewhere between 15 to 25% net profit. So take a second and think about that and just pick a number that you feel like you are on this scale right now. And go ahead and drop that into chat if you would. Okay. So the second key outcome that we're going toward is helping you be truly centered in your business. And a lot of our clients experience what we call a belief breakthrough at this point. And they come to us and they say, how do I get unstuck and take my business to the next level? So this next level is called a breakthrough level. And you can decide where you are on this scale of 1 to 10. And it goes anywhere from clueless at 1 to 2 to overwhelmed to maybe overconfident. And at the very highest level, when you've achieved that CEO level, it's more of the centered level. So go ahead and pick a number for yourself from 1 to 10, just so you know. Okay, great. Emily, thank you for giving me your rating on that. That really helps. So, and everybody else, just feel free to post. I love to see the answers. It helps me feel like I'm at least hearing from you and I'm answering your questions. Okay, so next, the third level or the third key outcome that we're trying to help people achieve is, this one might surprise you a little bit, but we call this the feeling loved and fulfilled. And what does that mean? And what that really means, it's about having meaningful relationships with like-minded people. And that could be advisors or colleagues or people like you that you can trust and lean on. So the question might be, where can I find people like me who I can trust and turn to as my business and I grow? So in the range of 1 to 3, it's that lonely and lost stage. In the 4 to 6, it's searching and hopeful. And the 7 and 8 is more empowered and energized. And then 9 and 10 is fulfilled and loved. So think about that for a second and pick out a number where you feel like you are right at this second. And feel free. Okay, about a 5. Okay, got it. All right, anybody else that wants to go ahead and post in chat too. Don't feel embarrassed. I won't call your names out other than your first name, and people won't know who you are. Okay, what we really believe for our designers like you is that a lot of people we know want to be and deserve to be recognized design leaders. And that's both individually and in your business. And that's one of the things that I feel really strongly has been something that I've seen with people. And it's about feeling confident and secure and fulfilled. All of those things are part of how we want to see you feel when you get to this upper level of recognized design leader. So the conversation we're going to have is about the framework that you need to build so you can apply it to your business and take it to an entirely different level. So if we think about this framework and about how you get there through these 3 critical outcomes of financial confidence, the belief breakthrough, and the meaningful relationships, we need to look at what is the lever that we need to pull or focus on in order to take our business to the next level. So the first lever to propel your business is having a great business model. And a lot of design businesses, a lot of people that come to me, I'll see that they have a broken business model. And in fact, you need to go from the broken to a powerhouse in order to be able to support your vision. So if you want to be that recognized design leader, this is a must. This is not an optional thing. The next level is your mindset. So we call this leadership limit. So for example, if your skills and influence are limited to, say on a scale of 1 to 10, you're maybe a 7 or less, then it's really tough to climb above that and to help your team and your clients value you when you're at that limit of 7 or less. But if you get to a leadership limit of say 8 or higher, then you can elevate everybody with you. And so mindset is the key driver that's going to take you to that next level because your mindset determines all the success that you have in your business. And then the third key lever is your community, and that's who you surround yourself with. So are you alone and lonely in the business, or are you deeply connected to other people that are like-minded like you are? So if you don't have your models sorted out, it can go anywhere from the clueless, for the model, or if you don't have a mindset sorted out, you'll be doing self-sabotage. And if you don't have the community sorted out, then you're going to feel as if you don't belong anywhere. So this is a framework that we've brought to a lot of businesses to help them transform their results. And with this, there are 9 key accelerators that we think are very important. And the very first one is to have a financial model that supports your personal needs and goals. And this goes back to that financial security that you want to have and that confidence. And so you need this to be foundationally strong. And then you also need to have a foundational approach to your business and an operational model to ensure that your business is the powerhouse it's capable of being. And so, for example, that could be systems and processes. It could be having just the right structure overall, the right kind of team set up in the right way. And that's going to be really important. So again, that was the financial and the foundational and the operational. All right. And then your mindset is the second key accelerator of your business model. And so you need this prosperity mindset and thinking to attract the right clients. And you need power to support what you do. And you need to use that power to deliver on your true purpose, which is to be a recognized design leader. So what we want for you is to be the best designer with the best design business that you imagined and that serves you the way that you want to be served. And then in terms of the third lever, which is a community, is you want to attract the right kind of clientele that you want to work with. And we call these your dream clients. And then you want to have the kind of counsel and advice that you need from team and colleagues. And finally, we want you to have this incredible, amazing collective of people around you who cheer you on, they support you with resources and answers. And that's our real goal for you. All of this we call our creative value blueprint, which is the right combination of pricing, profit, cost structure, team, systems, and processes in your business. And when you do this right, and your business runs smoothly, it'll generate the profit that you need to generate to support your lifestyle, your dreams, and your financial goals. So building this strong business foundation requires a lot of clarity about your vision, your values, your goals, your brand, and your team structure. And those are non-negotiable. And I talk about this in my book quite a bit. And when you have all these pieces in place, this creative value blueprint that we've identified for your business, then you can take it to this whole new level with a well-planned marketing strategy. Because what I find for a lot of people is they'll say, well, I just need more clients. But what they don't realize is that they haven't set their business up for success. And you have to have a rock solid system and process before you overwhelm your business with lots more clients. So without having this creative value blueprint, you're either on this green line heading up and moving forward in your business, or you're heading downwards, which is you're kind of going backwards, or you can just stay the same. But wherever you are right now is about as far as you can go with the current model that you have. So you have to figure out which part of the model needs to be fixed, if not all of the different parts of it. So we want you to get this, get on that green line and stay on that green line and not drop off of it, because I've seen that happen too. So really it's about having that right framework to help you get on that green line, stay on the green line, and then achieve what your destiny is in this business. So just remember that you can't, if you are on that green line, you don't want to drop off because you haven't put the structure in place. So one of the things I told you that we would talk about today is how to charge for your services. And I want to talk to you about what I think ends up being a real problem for a lot of people. And that is that value is subjective. And so, for example, one of the things that I see happen is that you can have a view on what the value of a pair of shoes is, and you might think it's worth $20 a pair, but somebody else bought them for 30, and so they think the value is $30. So you have to decide what you think the value is, and that's exactly what your clients do with you, and decide what you are worth and what the value is for you as a designer. So the real key is that there is no correct price for your goods and services. It's a perceived value that's attributed to that product or service by each client. So that is something that you can't really control. And if your price is too high, the client won't exchange their money for it. So you have to find that perfect balance of the value that they believe that you are deserving to be paid. So the question is, how do I charge and get clients to pay what I ask for and what I feel that I deserve? And how do I get paid fairly for my services? So I'm going to give you some guidelines today because there's so many choices of how you can price. And when it comes time to price your services, again, you may change your idea of how you're going to price yourself. But it comes, this is where a lot of people make a lot of mistakes, is in the fee structures. And I include myself in this because I had to go through this as well when I ran my own firm. And I made a lot of the same mistakes that you might be making today. So a lot of that was because, and I don't know if this has been true for all of you, but perhaps you did not get education in design school about how to charge. Would that be true? So go ahead and give me a little feedback on that. Those of you on the chat, I would love to see that. If you were like me, you probably had one class in business and I could have taught the class. And so that was a sad situation for me. And they did not tell us how to charge at all. So they didn't walk through the pros and cons of each of the pricing options. So trial and error was my teacher, and I don't want that to be the case for you. So what a lot of people do, you know, you may be charging by the hour and you might be doing a markup on your goods, and that's totally fine. But do you know how much profit you should really be making? And I kind of alluded to that at the beginning of the call. So the sad thing is in this industry is that the net profit, which is left after you pay for all your products and operating expenses, typically in this industry is 7.67%. So you could have $1 million business and only make about $76,000 net profit. And that is not enough for the hard work that you put into it. So if you started your firm as a way to enjoy your passion, and I would bet several of you did that very same thing, and you got into it because you wanted to make your clients' projects beautiful, you wanted to design something from your brain, and you wanted to make it functional. But the reality is the purpose of business is to make money and to make a profit. And here's the sad news. There's only about 40% of businesses make a profit. And I hope you're one of those. But if you're not yet, then I'd like you to avoid the mistakes that I made and I want you to shore up your company by pricing it well. So fees are just a small aspect of running a financially sustainable business. The rest of this depends on you having the correct business model and financial model. And that has to connect to your personal goals, visions, and values. And that's what creates true profit in your business. And since your business is so unique to you, the best way to price your services is personal, because again, I don't know your personal business circumstances, but like I said, markup and fees is typical of the way most people bill. But I think that having pricing options is really great. And that's something that I cover in a whole chapter in my brand new book, Business Breakthrough. So I think that will be very helpful to you to read that. So on planning for profit, one thing that I would tell you not to do is to pick a number out of thin air. I see a lot of designers do this, and the way they do this is they'll kind of have conversations with other people in the industry or maybe some of the vendors, and they'll say, well, what does Susie Q charge? And then they'll adjust their fees according to what that person charges and their perception according to how they feel compared to that person's style and business and what they're doing. Another way a lot of people price is by square footage. And the square footage price is fine as long as you know for sure that it is going to be profitable. And I'm going to help you in a few minutes with a tool that you can use. The third way is a detailed line item spreadsheet. And this is very tedious, and you certainly can do it. But, you've got to have a very clear scope of work so that you know that this is what it's going to take, and this is how much time it takes me to do this kind of a job like this, and that you are fairly accurate in your numbers. And this is something that most designers don't necessarily have nailed down at this time. So I would tell you that if you're trying to price your jobs by doing a detailed line item spreadsheet first, before you get into a contract with your client, that's probably a lot of wasted time, and it may or may not result in you getting the job. So what I do recommend is that you benchmark your projects. And this means that you have to track your time and also keep track of what you charge for typical rooms and projects. And this way you can make sure to check that you actually make money on each individual project. To me, benchmarking is one of the most important things that you can do in your business and once you do this, where you've actually got data that you can compare from one project to the next, then you can ballpark the project costs when your clients ask you or your prospects ask you. And this will allow you to give a very educated answer to somebody, which also shows your professionalism. So being able to answer budget parameters gives your clients and prospects that confidence in your knowledge and professionalism. And you can also do it as a percentage of cost. So for example, for a lot of people, what we want them to do is have some idea of what percentage of their revenue is going to be in fees. And typically we find that it's somewhere between 20 to 40% of their overall revenue is going to be in fees. And so therefore, if you were to charge by the hour, and you had a $100,000 project, then that $100,000 project, your design fee might be anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000. So that gives you a very quick and easy way for you to be able to calculate roughly what your fees should be on a project. So that gives you a starting point at the very least. So, you know, to me, one of the things that's really difficult is knowing how to make money in the industry, and it's a challenge for most designers. And we created this great tool, which I'm going to share. And give me a second, and I will share my screen. All right. So what I'm going to do is walk you through this spreadsheet that we put together, which we are going to give to you for free. And trust me, it is worth all freeness of it. It took us months to develop this, and we wanted to do this to make life easier for you to estimate the cost of a project and what your fees should be. So I'm going to walk you through starting on tab 2, and then I'll walk you through the spreadsheet. And we also have a recording of this in our on this sheet that where we're going to send you. So you'll be able to walk back through this and see how to use this calculator. So for example, at the very top of this, you can enter a house value. And if you don't know what the house value is for your project, you can look it up on Zillow if you have the client's address. So we're going to start with a $2 million project. And we're going to say that the budget as a percentage of the home value, you get to choose from this little drop-down menu. And let's say that your budget is going to be 40%. And let's also say that the square footage of the entire house is 10,000 square feet. And you're going to do 10,000 square feet. You're going to do the whole house. And if you want, you can enter percentage of existing furnishings to be used. And so perhaps maybe it could be 20% of the overall that they're going to use. And you're going to furnish 80% of their house. So you also have an option, you'll see here on line 7, this blank, that if you have a budget that your client gives you, and maybe they tell you they want to do 400,000 for their budget, you can enter 400,000 and it will override everything up above there. So you have your choice of either building from the value of the house or from using the client's budget. So let's create our own budget for right now. All right, so let's just say that there are no renovations on this house. So we're going to put 0% in here. And we're going to say that you're going to do 20% of the overall budget for the house is going to be design fees for you. And let's just say that your product markup is 25%. And we're not going to do renovation labor or materials because we're not doing renovations. And we're going to put in your sales tax rate of 8%. And then we're going to put in roughly about 10% for freight, delivery, and crating. In your state, you need to figure out whether you are being charged sales tax on the design fee. And we're going to say no in this case. And we're also going to say no on freight as far as paying sales tax on that. So that's fairly simple. That only took a couple of minutes to do. And also just to kind of explain this range of where it could be as far as the value of the house, there is a great website on the first instruction tab. Let me just get this a little bit bigger so I can show you. And it's called, on the bottom of the first tab, thehometrust.com. And they have a luxury home and interiors index. So it talks about exactly this. You could actually put a link on your website, and that could educate your clients about what it should cost for their project. So that's one way of starting to kind of talk about funds and how much you should be able to charge for a project. So now let's go back to this calculator. And based on the budget set by home value, then the total budget for the project is $800,000. And the client is using $160,000 of their own furnishings. So we have $640,000 to work with. And up here, we said that 20% of this budget would be for design fee. So basically, $128,000 is your design fee. So that's very quickly, now you have at least a good idea of what it's going to cost. And at 10,000 square feet for the house, that means that it's $12.80 a square foot for your design fee. So now all of a sudden you have some really good data to work with. And I would recommend you do this for every single project you do. Use this calculator before you get started so that you can actually give a range to the client of what your budget should be. So if we take the 640,000 and we subtract the design fees of 128, it leaves us with 512,000 that we can bill to the client, that with their markup and their freight and all those things for products. So what we did on this calculator is we actually subtracted out the sales tax and the freight so that we could get down to, what do you have to spend? What can you go spend with Kravet or Lee Jofa or any of the other manufacturers? And so maybe in this case, well, in this case, you're going to see it's $347,000 that you have to work with. And that's $34.71 a square foot. So now if you add the design fees with the product purchasing, that's $47.51 a square foot that you would be spending on that project to furnish it. And then down here at the bottom, you'll see the net purchasing dollars. And that's right here. You saw it up here on column D. And then here is what your costs are, plus your markup, means that you're selling at $433,898. And then you add in sales tax and freight, and it brings you back to that total of $512, which we talked about earlier. And you add your 128 design fees, and that all adds up to that 640 right here that we talked about at the beginning. Now, does anybody have any questions on this part right now? Feel free to stop me and ask a question before I go on to the next tab, because I can fly through this pretty quickly and I don't want to leave you all behind. Does anybody have a question? Okay, I'm not seeing anything in the chat. So I'll move on to the next tab, which is budgeted hours. And then I'm going to make this bigger so you can see it. And depending on what your rates are for your design company, you can put in the rates for each of the different levels of people working on your team. And so let's just say for you as a principal designer, you're charging $200 an hour. You can get into pre-design, and maybe you've got 40 hours allocated at $200 an hour. Design development is, well, let's just take that down. That seems a little bit high. So 10 on pre-design, 20 on design development, maybe 30 hours on FF&E. And then you can go into construction documentation and administration and expediting. So they are, that adds up to 141 hours for you as a principal designer. So this is a really quick way of creating an hourly budget for your project. And again, this begins to teach you how to benchmark for your project. So that gives you, you know how much you're under or over budget according to the $128,000 of design fees that you had. And right now you're under budget so far. And then you can add other people to your team and it's going to change your budget number. Now I'm going to move this screen a little bit so you can see more of this. And you'll see that we have, that was for your budget. And now in the blue area, you can go back at the end of the project and add in your actual hours that you spent on each of those areas of the business or on that project. And it's going to tell you if you're above or below budget on this. And so this is a really good way for you to see, was I accurate on this or not? And then over here, you'll see a total summary of how many hours were billed for the project versus budget. And it's going to show if you are over or under budget. So this is a really, really great way of getting to knowing what it's going to cost to do this project. Okay, so I'm going to go quickly over to the net furnishings budget. And I think this is one of the most helpful tabs that we have. And let me make this bigger so you can see it. And it's going to show you that you have a net budget of $347,000 to spend. And so far you've only allocated 56,000. So what we've done is we've given you rooms that you can actually put the items in that you're going to specify for each room. So the sofa is 15,000, accessories. I'm going to take this one out because I'm going to show you something that I figured out not too long ago. So I'm going to put in a coffee table. And we're going to call that coffee table $3,500. This is your net cost. So for this room, we said that we wanted 20% of the overall budget to be allocated to the living room. And that would be $69,000. And you've only allocated 19,000. So maybe you put in some art or something else in that budget. So we can do this for each room. Like we have a bedroom and then we have a kitchen. And I'm going to just scroll over. And one of the things I figured out to do was, instead of having maybe all of the rooms named, I'm going to add one called accessories, because guess what gets left off of most budgets at the end of the budget or at the end of the project? Accessories. And so I'm going to put 10% of the overall budget for accessories. And that's going to give me $34,000 to spend on purchasing accessories for this house. And so this is a really cool way of making sure that you do have it set up the way you want it, so that you can take great photos at the end and be able to get those photographs into magazines. You want to make sure that you have accessories in your budget. So that's a really quick way of developing a budget room by room. And I'm going to skip the renovation budget since we aren't doing that. And then over here, we're going to show that we had a total budget of $640, and so far you're $500,000 under budget because you haven't allocated all of the dollars yet. So this is just a really quick way for you to see where you are. And then on this final tab, you're going to see that all of the things that we broke out by room are now marked up with your standard markup. And it also includes your freight and your sales tax, so you can see the total budget per room. So this is what you could show to a client based on the budget that you have for that project. So that's kind of a quick overview. We call this our easy budget calculator because it only took us about 15 minutes to go through this. And this will be something that I highly recommend that you use over and over and over in your business, because in a year or two, if you start doing this for every project before you get started, you will have a great idea of how to benchmark your projects and how long it's going to take you to do each project, and whether you're commonly underestimating or overestimating. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now so that Mackenzie can put the slides back up. But that's just something I wanted to share with you. And right here, if you have a cell phone with you, and I think this will go out for you later, it's also in chat, you want to just take a picture of this QR code, or not take a picture, you can just scan it. And it will pop up this little website code. You click on that little gray tab at the very top of your screen, and it will take you to this website so that you can get the calculator in the training video. We also have a couple of other tools in there for you as well, called the Ideal Client Profile. And there is a great document on how to price your services, which is part of what I've put into the book. And then also for some people who are interested in coaching, just what you need to know to hire a coach. And so those are things that we've provided for you in the shortcuts that we've put together. And this is thousands of dollars of value for you for free. And I hope you make good use of this, because it was designed for you and for the industry. Okay, so I think we have just a couple more slides, and we'll just kind of dive into those, if you would, please, Mackenzie. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about mindset. And I think that, I'm sorry, marketing. Marketing, as I said to you, is the lifeblood of your business. And it's really important to have a plan around your marketing. And without consistent and what I call relentless marketing, your lead flow will be insufficient and you'll be stressed. And I want you to learn to love marketing. It's essential to your success. The reason why most businesses experience these wild swings in revenue is due to marketing not being the heaviest when they're the busiest. So that's when you're supposed to be doing the most marketing. And it's going to be the hardest thing you ever do is do the marketing when you're the busiest. So I want you to write that down because that's so important for you to get that concept in your head that you must do the marketing when you're super busy. So let's talk about what marketing is. And I think this is a great description of this. What you offer is not just your product. Your offering is product, services, your employees, your experiences, your ideas, your other clients, and even your competitors. So sell them all. When you're good at what you do, the product or service you offer is just the way people build the first link to you. And it's the top of a huge pyramid. But the base of the pyramid, the real service, is when clients have access to you and can provide advice and full power of your network and experience. So all those resources you've spent years getting, this is what you have to offer to your client. So this is when you're over delivering on steroids and how you build real wealth. It's not just a one-time fee for a service or product because that becomes a transaction. So what you want to do is offer a transformation to your clients. This quote was from James Altucher. So let's talk about top 10 marketing priorities. And I'm just going to go through these quickly, but there are some things that work really well. And I found these to be some of the things that that contributed to my success when I was doing design. And the first one is making sure to show your work to neighbors, realtors, and friends. And just make that part of what you do. And the way you can do that, the easiest is to host parties, for example, like an after party. So what I used to do is do a before party so people could see it before I renovated. And then I would do an after party. And we would have, maybe a chef and just have some way to gather with other people who might be interested. Of course, for most of you, referrals are going to be the key to your business. And that's going to be 80% of how you get business. And what I would tell you is the way you get the best referrals is when you do the best job for your client and create a great client experience. So that has to be part of your marketing strategy, is to create an incredible client experience. Another way that I got quite a bit of business is charitable activity. So I would recommend that highly in case you are charitably minded. Just pick one. Don't try to do 10, just do one and be actively involved and get to know people in that charity, because people will know whether your heart is really into what you're trying to do. Also, I feel strongly that realtor relationships, builder relationships, contractor relationships, photographers, editors, and writers, those are a significant part of building your marketing base. And I would tell you, especially if you're fairly new into the business, it can take you 3 to 5 years to get fully established in this business. And so what I'm trying to do is give you some of the shortcuts and where you should be focusing your efforts, and kind of do it in the order that I gave you, because if you do that, you're going to make your life a lot easier, and that will get you where you want to go. Okay, so I'm going to go on. I'm going to talk about one more little section called mindset. And this one is really important. We alluded to this at the beginning of the session today. And building a business means influencing and convincing prospects to work with you over other designers. And to me, one of the most important tools in doing that is having confidence. So confidence is what I consider a necessary success tool. And it's the only way you become confident is to decide what to do and to get into action. So you have to be courageous first, and then the confidence comes after that. And for what I see happen a lot is a lot of designers love the work they do, but they're so nervous about working with affluent clients, especially if they're not in the same social circles. And that doesn't matter. What matters is who you are deep inside and how talented you are. And if you're a great business person who loves to market, you can be the most talented designer in the world. But if you can't run a business and you don't do marketing well, then you'll never be as successful as you could be. And I want you to really achieve what your potential is. So you have to learn to communicate with confidence. And this means that you also have to ask for referrals. And so, you'll find that a lot of your clients, if they love you and they love the service that you've given, they're willingly going to promote you. So make sure that you focus on that client service, because this is the easiest way to not have to promote too much, and your clients will promote for you. And I would also tell you around this mindset that knowing what it's going to take financially to make the profit you deserve is the key to making more money, and having confidence as the recognized design leader when you're speaking with clients. And when you're confident, you're going to be able to learn more and earn more. So I covered a lot of ground today, and I wanted to share with you that we have an educational event coming up. And if you are wanting to learn how to market and do it in a very easy way, then you should consider attending our marketing challenge, which is June 7th through the 11th. And if you will do us a favor, and you can attend this for free, and here's what you need to do. You'll need to sign up for a quick call with our team just to find out a little bit more about your business and maybe where you're stuck, and maybe where we can make some recommendations to you. If you sign up for that call, which is free and about 15 minutes worth, if you complete that by June 4th, when you get on that call, Pat will give you a special discount code for the June Marketing Challenge, and you will be able to attend for free. And that's a $297 class, and it's an hour each day for 5 days. So we're putting the links over in the chat area, and that is so that you can book the calls. And then also you can download 2 free chapters of my book. And we also have the shortcuts for you as well. So we'll go ahead and post those. Let me just do that real quickly. So anyway, I just wanted to share all of that information with you. Does anybody have any questions today? Also, we would appreciate some feedback. Did you learn anything today? Were there any things that stood out to you that you are going to put into place? So go ahead and post that in the chat. That would be terrific. Okay, well, thank you so much, Kimberly. It was a pleasure being here. And if you all have questions, feel free to reach out. And there are those links for you in chat. And we encourage you to download those free tools, because they will be so helpful for you. So we wish you a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you at Market.